Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Killer Knives. Just hanging out with my Reeves Inkosi today. Um, Watched a quick video on Instagram, and I wanted to come over here and just pick it up and play with it. And now that I want to just share my day-to-day activities with you. And I feel like taking it apart. I have taken it apart before, so I'll share the takedown with you. Just try and finesse the action. I used this to make a sandwich and stuff the other day, so I'm gonna check out what's going on inside. Maybe there's some crumbs or something. Maybe there's nothing. I don't know. But this will be a 2-in-1 video, so I'm gonna do a quick review of it, and I'll do some size comparisons, a weight of it, and then I'm going to take it down. You can stick around if you want to see it taken apart later. So we'll just do some quick size comparisons. We have a PM2 S110V. This is a DPX Hest Decade. One of my smaller knives, but a beefy knife nonetheless. So you can see it is pretty much right on par with a PM2. Definitely not as high in the blade stock area as it. And the PM2 might have a quarter to a half an inch of handle length on the Chris Reeves. And the DPX Hest is both smaller in handle and in the blade. Great action on this, guys. I did disassembly on that. Check that out if you want. Another more common knife is a Benchmade bug out, and I have a Cold Steel Recon 1. The Recon 1 has kind of become like a beater for me. I really like using it. The ergonomics are great, fits in my hand and in my pocket very well, so constantly using that. So pardon me, the Benchmade bug out is much smaller. The blade stock from handle to blade is definitely smaller. If we try to line this up exactly, you're looking at probably only a quarter inch less blade, but you're looking at, right around like 3/4 of an inch of less handle. And obviously the Recon 1 is larger in the handle and the blade. But I do prefer a larger knife, guys. I don't have huge hands or anything. I wear a large glove usually. And this fits my hand just really great ergonomically. So I use this knife a lot. I have one more size comparison for you guys. This is the 80-20. A lot of people say it's a big beefy knife. Yeah, it's big. It's not the biggest knife in the world for sure. And we can stand these up and you can take a look. Obviously the 80-20 is thicker, but all in all, I think those are good size comparisons, and you guys may or may not own some of those knives. So I love this knife. First of all, it's obviously widely loved here in the US and probably across the world. The tolerances are fantastic. The frame lock was created by Chris Reeves, so obviously that speaks a lot to his name there, of who he is. The tolerances on this knife are beautiful. I guess this is a stone wash on the handle, has great texture to it. It feels really nice in your hand. I don't personally have a problem with this thumb stud based on the way I use it, but before I took it down and really kind of smoothened the action on it, this definitely hurts right in the ball of your thumb here. So you know, I kind of have bony fingers too, so before I took it down, it was a little bothersome. This Inkosi clip is really great in and out of the pocket. I have no issues whatsoever with that. The micarta is great. I spilled some oil on it. Can't even see it. The micarta ate it up. Beautiful crowned spine on the blade. Nice and rounded. The jimping goes right where your thumb, right at the thumb ramp here. So really excellent design there. The pivot on this knife is very easy to adjust, and part of the beautiful thing, not only of purchasing a Chris Reeves knife, is the knife. Obviously you get a lifetime warranty. They'll sharpen your knife, they'll fix your knife for you if anything happens to it. They're kind of like a no questions asked kind of company, which is really beautiful. They ship you all the items that you need to take this knife apart. And I believe the hardware is all a little different. All of the knives might be differing a little bit here and there. But they send you everything you need depending on whatever knife you order. And they also send you some blue Loctite. I've never used this yet. It's my backup for now. They send you fluorinated grease and the two Allen wrench keys here. So personally, I don't mind the fluorinated grease. I actually use it, but I also use a little bit of oil too. So I put a little grease, and when I start taking this apart, you'll see their washers are in-house washers that they design and make, and they have holes in them, which is much different than most knives you'll purchase, which are just basic round phosphor bronze washers. So I usually put a little grease on the inside of the washer, and then I'll put a little oil between the actual blade and the washer and the pivot, which you'll see when I take it apart now. So all in all, the fit and finish of this knife, holding it, is excellent. The handle size is actually great. The way it feels, easy to grip. This knife itself, the Inkosi, is actually a little different than all of the others in the sense that it has these cutouts. And that's what really attracted me to it. And the beautiful thing is, like, they'll stop, like they'll start making the new Spenza, but they'll still make these knives, which is really cool. Even though it's an older model, because the way they design their knives is progressive, where they try to get better and better on all of their designs, except for the, you know, the slip joints and stuff are obviously a different, they're different element of Chris Reeves designs, but the folding knives are progressive in design. So I give this knife 10 out of 10. I mean, in every way, it's just beautiful and perfect. It's easy to carry. It's pretty lightweight. It's a good day-to-day knife. I carry it pretty often. I'm by no means like beating on this knife, but I use it. I mean, I just use it the way I use it. I used it to chop up some tomatoes and lettuce and cut my sandwich in half the other day, you know. If I have mail or boxes, I'll use it. It doesn't matter, you know. 4.7 ounces, which is pretty good for a knife of this size, where it's coming in at 5, 6, 7, about 8 inches. So for an 8-inch knife, about 5, it's 4.7 ounces, so about 5 ounces, less than an ounce an inch. That's pretty good for being solid titanium. As most of you know, this knife is awesome. So, you know, it's not like I'm sharing any new revelations with you. This knife is perfect in every way, and obviously a lot of people are aiming in their knife designs to develop a knife that is as widely loved and cherished and appreciated and just design and overall ergonomics to be like this knife. So let's take this apart. Essentially, you need both of these, one on each side. I think I actually forgot I forgot one of the Allen keys in the bag. That's cool. Okay, the pivot is coming out now. You can just twist it out. There it goes. It's a short, stubby screw. And you can see the Allen keys go straight through there. So now we need to get the other Allen key, which is this one. This also comes with the knife, so that's my fault. We'll take this apart from this side. I could have folded the blade in. I'm gonna unfold it, so I'm just being careful. I'm gonna unfold it anyways, so I'm just gonna leave it out. It's pretty far away from me right now, so. Alright, so pivot screw out and the handle screw is out. So now we can kind of wiggle this out. I have this, which came with the DPX Hest. This is like a little wedge. So I'm going to use that just to create a little pressure where I can loosen this out. And the tolerances are super tight on these knives, so it requires a little bit of wiggle to get it out. Pop this pivot out. I'll try to at least. Yeah, it's definitely together. All right, there we go. We got it. All right, so technically you could service this knife without ever taking this off, but I'm just gonna take it off. Let's take the blade off first before I do anything crazy. And this is really attached to the pivot today. I don't remember it being like this, just FYI. There we go. All right, wiggle that off. All right, so we can leave the backspacer in, and you can see what I'm talking about with the design of the washers. Obviously, much different than any washers you'll see on other knives. This is relatively clean inside, but we're just gonna give it a quick touch up. We'll oil up the detent ball track. You can see that's got a little schmutz on it there. We're just gonna clean it up, make it nice. So as normal, for me, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, some portioned paper towel. I'm just gonna rub this down really quick before I start taking it apart. Remove any oils or dirt. All right, so one thing to keep in mind is that you want to be very careful with these washers. They're pretty thin. They're like pretty ultra thin, and you don't want to bend them. If you bend them, you're gonna pretty much destroy the action on your knife. So, and then you have to get new washers from Chris Reeves, which probably gonna take a week or two, maybe longer, who knows. I'm gonna drop this directly into the alcohol. Same thing here. Be very careful when you're removing this. Press the lock bar down and try to get your finger under this. I don't have long fingernails, so if you guys don't have long fingernails, you can do this. Same thing, just drop it in there. We're gonna clean this up. A little bit of rubbing alcohol on the handle. So my main goal today is just to smooth out the action, just kind of clean it up a little bit. This fluorinated grease, it's actually super high quality. You're not gonna want to leave it there forever. I think the last time I cleaned this knife was probably, I don't know, 3 months ago. I took it apart, and you don't want to just like leave that stuff just sitting there, because I mean, there's two things at play here. One is I'm not using this every day, so I don't need to take it apart, you know, once a month or anything of that nature. And then the other thing is that because I'm not using it every day, the grease is kind of just sitting there. So ultimately, guys, you got to take apart your knives and maintain them. Otherwise, you run into some other issues like caking and just dust sitting there, kind of beating away at whatever your titanium and your blade and the detent tract and stuff like that. You want to get into the blade here. Same thing, a little rubbing alcohol, clean the edges. Let's see if this will focus up. I'm gonna kind of rub that off, any excess buildup on the blade. So what we're gonna do is we're going to lubricate that, and we're gonna make the action a little smoother. We're gonna open it, we're gonna close it, we're gonna use this knife, we're gonna carry it, you know, every other day, just kind of like what I do. And it takes a long time to break in. I've had this knife, I'm not really sure, 5 months or so. It's pretty much like brand new when I got it. Like I said, the action is a little better, but I'd imagine you have to use this knife every day. Like, you're purchasing this knife and you're using it every day, your knife's probably already broken in better than mine. But I'm not using this every day, so. All right, so we're all cleaned up there. We're just gonna pay a little attention to the washers themselves now. So lift those out gently. Be very careful with these. Other Chris Reeves knives are not like this. The Inkosi is the only one that has washers like this. So just keep that in mind. And I just don't remember off the top of my head what the other ones look like. I just know they don't really have all of these cutouts, and they might actually, I think they have these cutouts, but they're actually fully round, and this fits into the handle of the knife, so it's a little different. It's very interesting, of course. A lot of thought that went into the design of this knife, and that's what I really love, is the fact that someone like Chris Reeves or his employees that manufacture and design these knives take slabs of metal and turn it into something so amazing. I mean, the amount of work and dust and dirt and everything that they're creating it within their company to come out with such a clean, beautiful product is something that I really truly appreciate. All right, so you want to put back these washers. So this fits here. Okay, that is the, excuse me. Okay, that's the stop pin here, right? So what we're going to do now is to put a little bit of the fluorinated grease inside of these holes. And I think you don't need too much. This is too much. It's alright, just put it in there. Yeah, that's good. You don't need too much. And then I have a little nano oil 10 weight. And we'll put that closer into the pivot here. A couple drops. Right. Now, you're going to want to put a little bit of the oil itself on the detent track. Just kind of spread that in there. And then we can put the blade back. Now guys, the way I'm showing you is not the way you have to do it. I like the fluorinated grease. Some people hate it. I really like it. I mean, I think it creates great action. Maybe people are gonna say that's why my blade isn't drop shutty. That's cool. They're probably right. But I like to have a little bit of it on there. I think, you know, Chris Reeves gives it to you, and I think I should use a little bit of it. It's also pretty protective of keeping out the grime in the center here. Put the next washer and put a little bit more of the grease, a little less than I put on the other side. Guys, it's gonna work itself in as the blade moves anyways, so just keep that in mind. A little bit more of the nano oil. All right, right next to the pivot. All right, here we go. Just kind of clean up around myself really quick. All right. All right, so that's pretty much it. And that's part of the beauty of owning a Chris Reeves knife, is that there's not a lot of components to it. I mean, not that there's a lot of components to all knives, but it's pretty simple takedown. It's easy to maintain, and yeah, it's pretty sweet. You get a super high quality product like this, and you can just kind of maintain it on a regular basis relatively easily. It adds to the value exponentially, in my opinion. So and like I said, the tolerances are just really, really tight, so you have to keep that in mind here. I'm gonna actually close the blade a little here, and I'm gonna have to push this in from the other side. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so all back together. And it's really all about getting it just like lined up really well. It's kind of tough to do that sometimes if you don't actually flip it and just press it straight down. So we're gonna use some blue Loctite. We don't need too much. We're just gonna use a little bit, just to hold the pivot in place. And this really will help just maintain the action we put in place today, tomorrow, and the next day. So like I said, just a little blue Loctite in there. Kind of just get it in there. Oh, shit. Just get the pivot in place. All right. You can use your fingers. And we'll tighten that a little more. And then the screw that holds the back spacer and the handle together, a little bit of Loctite, and this will keep the handle nice and tight together. Use the smaller Allen key, get that going. All right guys, so once you lock the threads in there, you're good to go. And we're almost done. We're just gonna make that nice and tight, not too tight. Don't break the Allen key. And you'll see, if you have one of these and you've never taken it apart, because the tolerances are just so exact and so perfect, like you can't even over tighten this. It's like impossible. You'll know that you're gonna break something. Basically the Allen key will break. Tighten our pivot in. I'm just holding the other side of my finger right now. We'll see how tight we can get it. Just with our finger, and then right at the end, just slap the other one in there. Boom. Give it a little double twist. You don't want to make this too tight, so we'll check it. And the action is really, really nice. You want to check for blade play. Yeah, there's a little blade play, so we'll tighten it up a little more. Try not to throw your Allen key down into Loctite like I did. If you do, just wipe it off. It's all good. Give us a little bit more of a tightening. Let's see. Still a little blade play, so we'll tighten it a little more. The action feels ultra smooth. We'll see how it closes. Just give it a little more tightening. Okay, no blade play. Maybe we can loosen it a little more. The opening is amazing. I think we can loosen it just a touch more, and we'll have really great action. All right. The action opening is great. I don't think we're going to get it to be drop shutty today. It's definitely going to need some more break-in time, and that's great. That's fine with me. So that's my review of my Reeves Inkosi with my micarta inlays and the breakdown and take down of it, which is, like I said, it's relatively simple, guys. Hope you have a killer day.